Traditions of countries with no sunset on England. Royal family, economy and history. One of the leading countries shaping world politics. From the 16th century to the 20th century, they have such a tradition. Will shock you. What kind of sale? Although it seems strange to many people, in the 17th and 18th centuries, sometimes officially and sometimes only selling women in public, in England, a form of social and legal, appeared as a phenomenon. Husbands selling their wives, or others, with another person. It was a tradition to change. This practice is usually poverty, divorce, or social. It came as a result of pressure. This tradition, especially in the 16th and 17th centuries, in parts of England, it is important to emphasize that it is common. Men often have problems in their marriages. Their wives sometimes released through a symbolic sale. Such sales were sometimes made in front of a community. Sometimes it was official, but mostly verbal. There would be treaties between the people. The price of a woman was usually very low, and male. He sold his wife to someone else for a certain amount of money. It was actually a kind of divorce, and over time, would replace the marriage contract. Sometimes marketplaces where the sale takes place, or at public gatherings such as starry evenings. The woman was sold like a pirate ad. Woman with the new man she was sold to. Start to go to another house. Sex sales mostly economic difficulties. Family problems, as a result of social changes, was emerging. Many men were going to sell their wives because divorce was expensive back then, and socially troubled. Also some men, in poverty or for reasons such as alcohol addiction, leave their wives, could go the way of selling or selling. Divorce in England was very difficult and expensive. Therefore, this kind of application, it was seen as a way out. For women, divorce is often impossible. There was a social order. One of the most well-known events in history of zest sales. Some were like this. 1680s. A man's wife in Bristol, England, sold in this event was included in the newspaper of the period. The reactions of the people and revealing legal loopholes. 1760s in the Liz region. The story of a man who decides to sell his wife. It had become a public event. Towards the end of the 18th century, various legal against sale of zest in the UK arrangements started to be introduced. This tradition is especially female rights and divorce law, banned by the development of laws. Sale social, with norms and changing legal order, but still among the people, as a form of secret divorce. In some places, has continued. It is completely forbidden to sell, and remain a dark memory of the past. Important to emphasize. But this old practice, men on women, ownership rights, how much they are embraced, and the women of society, shows how you see property. Amulet taunt, with the development of human rights and social justice. Although it is completely over, this phenomenon in the past, how important is the struggle for women's rights? When social norms began to change. A woman in the year of 1913 in Icons, Lids, going to court by her husband to her colleague, for £1, claimed to be sold. This event is in the sources. Last known spouse sale, passes as one of the cases. Now according to the Quran and Hadiths, let's look at women's and women's rights. Islamic woman and man, equal in respect of basic human rights. Men and women in the Quran. In the sight of Allah, it is stated that they have equal value. Women and men, each. They will be rewarded for their good deeds. This verse is equal in the sight of Allah for men and women. They have rights. And according to the deeds of each, indicates that he will be held responsible. marry a woman. Issues such as divorce are given the right to decide of their own free will. Islamic woman, not just an identity limited to marriage and motherhood. At the same time, freedom to shape your own life when deciding to get married. Cannot be forced into marriage unless he approves. In the Quran, and they, without injustice for women, they will get a share from their husbands. The rights of women in marriage is secured. Islam sees motherhood as an extremely lofty position over the role of mother to woman. A great honor and love is given on the role of mother in the Quran. An important emphasis has been made about giving birth to human mother. We ordered him to do good. Her mother barely carried her 2 years while breastfeeding. This verse on the mother's troublesome birth process and breastfeeding period shows the emphasis of Islam and reinforces respect for motherhood. Women in Islam are not equal to men in inheritance rights. Only women given a certain inheritance share and men's share of the inheritance. Twice as many women. If the reason for this, men usually family, understanding that it must bear financial responsibility. In the verse in the Quran, men are 1 degree more than women. Difference here, men in Islam, obliged to provide for the family, and women, a reflection of different social roles. However, this does not eliminate the right of inheritance of women. Islam also encourages women to receive education. In the hadiths, it is said that knowledge is obligatory to every Muslim. Education for women emphasized that it should. Many women in the early days of Islam, he learned science and played important roles in society. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam attaches great importance to the education of women. In the early days of Islam, recognized as an important scholar and shared his teachings, amulet taunt. Women are often seen as property, treated like a man's possession. Means to see. This kind of tradition completely contradicts the teachings of Islam. Islam honored women hundreds of years ago, while recognizing freedom and rights. In the same century, in some parts of the Western world, the woman is seen as a commodity. One of the ironies of history. Quran and hadiths protect women, represents an understanding that commands respect for him. Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, heaven is under the feet of mothers, hadith. This is the strongest expression of value. Today we, looking at the mistakes of the past, we are building. Spousal sales are not just a historical anecdote. It is also a lesson in humanity. Bu Vidyata, we remembered a history that humanity should not forget. If you like this kind of historical and mysterious stories, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments.